I want you to memorize this by heart. Nag-scan ako ng exam nyo kanina. Sa major exam, I have 10 questions about arterial blood gas analysis. Okay? Kaya makinig do sa video mamaya. Tandaan by heart. Start with the pH. So the normal blood pH is 7.35 to 7.45. PCO2 o PaCO2, madaling tandaan, isunod 35.45 si pH, 35 to 45 si PaCO2. Okay? Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na once it reaches 50 millimeters mercury and above, prepare for intubation. Okay? So yan, 35 to 45. Then you have, ito na lang tatandaan nyo, bicarbonate, 21 to 28. And of course, the normal oxygen level natin should be around 80 to 100 millimeters mercury. Okay. Etong mga susunod, these are the manual. Mano-manong interpretation ng ABG results natin. Basahin nyo na lang. Okay? Basahin nyo na lang yan. Ang gusto kong aralin ninyo is the shortcut method. So, wait lang. So, yung shortcut, yan ang kakailanganin ninyo kasi sa exam. Okay? Inilipat ko kasi itong natatry kong i-convert to MP4. Hindi ko ma-convert. So, wait lang. Stop converting. Stop sharing. Nailipat ko lang yung yung slide. So, eto ulit si Nurse Sarah. Wait, asan na? Nilagay ko kay on ko kasi. Okay. Last part. Makinig, maupo sa harap ng computer, makinig maigi, agad mamaya, pag may nalilito. Bakit? Ayun, si Nurse Sarah. Okay? Slide presentation ko lang ha.
Hey everyone, it's Nurse Sarah with RegisteredNurseRN.com, and in this video, I'm going to go over how to solve ABG problems using the tic-tac-toe method. So let's get started. The tic-tac-toe method is a method you can use to solve arterial blood gases, and it's very similar to the childhood game that
Wait, baka hindi nyo pala nakikita. Sandali. Hindi nyo nga nakikita. Okay. Okay, let's do this.
Hey everyone, it's Nurse Sarah with RegisteredNurseRN.com, and in this video, I'm going to go over how to solve ABG problems using the tic-tac-toe method. So let's get started. The tic-tac-toe method is a method you can use to solve arterial blood gases, and it's very similar to the childhood game that you may have played as a kid, where you set up the little grid lines and you use X's and O's row. It has the same concept, except we're not using X's and O's, we're using arterial blood gas values like PaCO2, bicarbonate, pH, and we're not just getting any type of 3 in a row. We have to get a vertical 3 in a row. So I'm talking about 3 in a row that goes up and down. So first, let's look at an overview of how this method is set up. So whenever I go to solve these problems, because I want to be solving uncompensated ones, partial and full compensation, you'll have a little bit of an idea as I'm setting up this problem. So here is a completed one. I want you to look at the grids now. And we've labeled each like column. So you have acid over there all the way to the left, and then you have normal in the middle, and then you have base all the way at the right. And then we've plugged in our arterial blood gas results. So we've had to interpret them. So we plugged in the PaCO2, that represents the respiratory system. We figured out that that was normal, so we put it under the normal column. Then we looked at the pH, and it is basic, so we put that under the basic column. And then the HCO3 was basic, which represents under the base. So now we're looking at the tic-tac-toe. We're looking for that 3 in a row, and we're looking for a vertical 3 in a row. So we got one right here with base, pH, and HCO3. So how do we interpret what it is? Well, you say base, which is another way of saying base is alkalotic. It's alkalotic, and the pH is alkalotic, and the HCO3 is considered alkalotic. So when we put all that together, we get metabolic alkalosis, and this problem is uncompensated, which we'll be going over that here in a second. So that is how you set up the problem. Now, before you even go working these problems, you have to first have it.
Okay, ulitin natin. Sandali lang. Wait lang. Close ko lang tong isa. Wait. Ulitin natin.
Extremistarian.com, and in this video I'm going to go over how to solve ABG problems using the tic-tac-toe method. So let's get started. The tic-tac-toe method is a method you can use to solve arterial blood gases, and it's very similar to the childhood game that you may have played as a kid, where you set up the little grid lines and you use X's and O's and you're trying to get that 3 in a row. It has the same concept, except we're not using X's and O's, we're using arterial blood gas values like PaCO2, bicarbonate, pH, and we're not just getting any type of 3 in a row. We have to get a vertical 3 in a row. So I'm talking about 3 in a row that goes up and down. So first, let's look at an overview of how this method is set up. So whenever I go to solve these problems, because I want to be solving uncompensated ones, partial and full compensation, you'll have a little bit of an idea as I'm setting up this problem. So here is a completed one. I want you to look at the grids. Notice how we set up the grids, just how you would in a childhood tic-tac-toe. And we've labeled each like column. So you have acid over there all the way to the left. Then you have normal in the middle, and then you have base all the way at the right. Then we've plugged in our arterial blood gas results. So we've had to interpret them. So we've plugged in the PaCO2, that represents the respiratory system. We figured out that that was normal, so we put it under the normal column. Then we looked at the pH, and it is basic, so we put that under the basic column. And then the HCO3 was basic, which represents the metabolic system, and we put it under the basic side. So now we're looking at the tic-tac-toe. We're looking for that 3 in a row, and we're looking for a vertical 3 in a row. So we got one right here with base, pH, and HCO3. So how do we interpret what it is? Well, you say base, which is another way of saying base is alkalotic. It's alkalotic, and the pH is alkalotic. Alkalotic, and we put all that together, we get metabolic alkalosis, and this problem is uncompensated, which we'll be going over that here in a second. So that is how you set up the problem. Now, before you even go working these problems, you have to first have a basic understanding of how to interpret ABG results. So let's quickly go over that. First thing, whenever you're looking at ABG results, you need to look at the patient's blood pH. This is like the measure of the hydrogen ion concentration. So your body likes a narrow range, 7.3 range is normal. So anything less than 7.35 is considered acidotic, an acid, and anything greater than 7.45 is considered basic, which another way of saying basic is alkalotic. Those are like synonyms. You can interchange those. The next, you want to look at the PaCO2. This is the carbon dioxide level concentration in the arterial blood. Whenever we're talking about PaCO2, that always represents the respiratory system. So remember that. So a normal level is about 35 to 45 millimeters of mercury. So when you're looking at these results, anything that's less than 35 is considered alkalotic, basic, and anything that is greater than 45 is considered acidotic, and acid. Then you want to look at the bicarb, which is HCO3. This always represents the metabolic system. So HCO3, metabolic, PaCO2 is respiratory. So a normal bicarb level is anywhere between 22 to 26 of milliequivalents per liter. So anything that is less than 22 is an acid, and anything greater than 26 is a base. Now, whenever you're looking at these lab results and you're thinking, how am I going to memorize this? Try to keep these few things in mind. One thing is about that respiratory system. It's a little bit special when it comes to its values. It's the opposite on whether it's an acid or a base compared to pH and the bicarb, because notice with pH and bicarb, its low values like 7.35 or 22 are automatically considered an acid. But when we go over here and look at PaCO2, its low value, 35, it's considered 7.45 is a normal pH. See the 35 and the 45? And then remember for PaCO2 respiratory, it's 35 to 45. That's its normal. So if you remember those two numbers, you've just memorized two values. So now let me test you. Okay, you have a blood pH of 7.52. What is that? It is a base, so it's alkalotic. In your tic-tac-toe, you put it on the base side. How about a PaCO2 of 32? That is a base. It's considered alkalotic. How about a bicarb HCO3 of 28? It's considered basic, alkalotic. Okay. How about a pH of 7.31? That is acidic. We put it on the acid side. And how about the pH was 7.36? That's normal. So you put under the normal side. So these next problems we're going to solve are actually from my book I just released on ABG interpretation. And in this book, I include a lot of practice problems to make sure you know how to solve all these different types of ABG problems, along with cheat sheet style notes about acid base imbalances and so forth. So now that we have that out of the way, let's set up our first tic-tac-toe problem. Okay. Patient's ABG results are pH of 7.25, a PaCO2 of 50, and a bicarb HCO3 of 24. So the very first thing you want to do is that you want to set up the problem. So go ahead, put out your lines, and then label each column. We have acid all the way over there on the left, we have normal in the middle, and then we have base here on the right. So the first thing what you want to do is you want to interpret those results. Let's start with the blood pH. The pH is that is acidic. So we're going to write pH under the acid column. Then we're going to look at the PaCO2. It was 50. That is considered an acid. So we're going to put PaCO2 under acid. And I'm seeing something. I'm seeing some vertical activity going on. But let's finish out the problem. And then we're going to look at the bicarb, the HCO3. It is 24. So that is normal. So we're going to put our bicarb under normal. So again, just to remember, PaCO2 represented the respiratory system, and the bicarb, the HCO3, represented the metabolic system. So now what we're going to do is we're asking ourselves, do we see a vertical 3 in the row? And the answer is yes, we do. So we can actually finish solving this. So what we have is we're going to say acid plus pH plus PaCO2. What do we get when we do that? We're going to get respiratory acidosis, and it's uncompensated. So we don't have any compensation going on. How would we know if we had any, where it would be partial compensation instead of uncompensated? Well, our HCO3, which is the system that's not the imbalance, should be trying to help us correct these acidotic conditions by becoming more alkaline. So that bicarb, the HCO3, should be going up, being greater than 26 if it was partial compensated and our pH was still abnormal. That would be partial compensation. But right now, our bicarb is normal. So it's not trying to make itself more alkalotic. So it's staying within that normal range, so it's uncompensated. Let's say that whenever we did this tic-tac-toe, we didn't have a vertical 3 in a row, because that sometimes happens. And when that happens, it automatically tips you off you have full compensation, which I'm going to go more into detail about that when we solve those problems. Plus, if it was full compensation, our pH So if you don't give birth and your pH is normal, you can know that you do have full compensation. So with this problem, it says our patient has the following ABGs: a pH of 7.26, a PaCO2 of 31, and an HCO3 of 20. So very first thing what we want to do is we want to set up that tic-tac-toe. So set up our problems, label each column acid, normal, and base. Then what we want to do is we want to interpret that blood pH. Is it acidic, normal, or basic, alkalotic? So our blood pH was 7.26. That is on the acidic side. So we're going to put pH under acid. Then we're going to look at the PaCO2. It was 31. That is on the base side. So we're going to put that under base. And then we're going to look at the bicarb, the HCO3, and it was 20. And when we interpret that, that is going to go under acid. So we're going to put that there. Now we're going to look for a vertical 3 in a row. Do we see one? We do. We have one over here on the acid side. Acid plus pH plus bicarb. Again, one at HCO3. So we've all of that together to get metabolic acidosis. Now we need to determine what compensation is going on. So we know this is not full compensation because, as I started out before, we do have a vertical 3 in a row, plus our pH is abnormal. Our pH would have to be normal for it to be full compensation. So we'll go ahead and forget about that. So it's either uncompensated or compensated. So we need to further look at the system that isn't causing our imbalance. Our system that is causing the imbalance is the metabolic system. So we know the metabolic acidosis value, and it's represented by the PaCO2. When we look at that, we put it under the base side. So it is abnormal. So the respiratory system is trying to compensate by making itself more alkalotic in hopes of bringing pH to normal. So we have metabolic acidosis partially compensated. In our next problem, the patient had a pH of 7.54, a PaCO2 of 27, and a bicarb of 23. So first thing is we set up our tic-tac-toe grid with acid, normal, and base. pH. The pH 7.54 was that acid, base, or normal. Our pH is basic, alkalotic, so we're going to put that under base. Now let's look at PaCO2. It is 27, and that is basic, so we'll put that under base. Then our bicarb HCO3, it is 23. So normal for that is 22 to 26. So we're going to put that under normal. Okay, next thing, we interpreted everything we need to see. Do we have a vertical 3 in a row? The answer is yes. We can think base plus PA alkalosis. So you get plus, we need to learn from PaCO2, again, what kind of respiratory system. We get respiratory, that's usually what kind of full compensation because we do have a vertical 3 in a row, and our blood pH is abnormal. So is this uncompensated or partial compensated? So let's look at that system's value that isn't causing our problem. The problem is being caused by the respiratory system. So let's look at the metabolic system's representation, which was by the bicarb. The bicarb is normal. It's within that normal range. So it's not really trying to compensate by throwing itself in more acidic value. So we would say it is respiratory alkalosis uncompensated. This problem says our patient has a pH of 7.36, a PaCO2 of 50, and an HCO3 of 31. So first thing we're going to do is set up that tic-tac-toe grid, label it acid, normal, base. Then what we want to do is we want to interpret that pH. So let's analyze it. Our pH is 7.36. Okay, that is normal, falls range. So we're going to put pH under normal. Okay, right now we're already thinking, I think we got full compensation, but let's further analyze everything else. Next, we're going to look at the PaCO2. It was 50. This falls on the acid side, so we're going to put that under acid. And then our HCO3 is 31, and that falls under the basic side, so it's alkalotic, so we're going to put it under base. Now we need to see, do we have that vertical 3 in a row? The answer is no, we don't. So we know we're dealing with full compensation, but we need to figure out what type of disorder this actually is. So what we want to do is further look at that blood pH. So we know it's 7.36 and the normal range is 7.35 to 7.45, but the absolute normal smack dab right in the middle is 7.40. So we're going to use 7.40 as our home base. So we have a line here drawn, and in the middle right there is 7.40. So we're normal, but are we acidic normal on that blood pH, or are we alkalotic normal on that pH? And how you figure that out is anything that is less than 7.40 is considered acidotic normal, and anything greater than 7.40 is considered alkalotic normal. So here, because we're 7. On that acidic side. So we've established that we have normal pH that's acidic. Now let's look at that system, either respiratory metabolic, that matches also being acidic, because that's the type of disorder we most likely have. So we have PaCO2 under acid and we have HCO3 under base. So what's under acid? Our respiratory system, the PaCO2. So we have respiratory acidosis, full compensated. And how this full compensation was achieved was that our bicarb, or HCO3, threw itself into an alkalotic value, a basic value, which helped increase normal, but it's normal, but it's a little acidic normal because it just came from being on the acid side. So now it's hopefully trending upward, and it was helped by this bicarb by making itself alkalotic. Okay, so that wraps up this video on how to solve ABG problems using the tic-tac-toe method. And if you'd like to watch other videos in this series, you can access the link in the description below.
Okay, so linawin natin ha. Ulit. Okay, so ano ang una ninyong gagawin? Identify the pH. Dito muna tayo. Okay. So you identify the pH first. Diyan kayo laging mag-uumpisa. So kapag given na yung mga values na yan, plot nyo muna yung pH. Nasaan yung pH? Is it on the acidic side? Normal ba yung pH or base? So in this case, 7.25, normal is 7.35 to 7.45. So below 7.35 is acidic. So lagay nyo na pH under acid, the first box. So gagawa muna pala kayo ha, nung parang tic-tac-toe natin. So hindi pwedeng pagpalitin yung acid at saka yung base. Acid is always on the left. Okay? Base is always on the right. So yung midline natin is yung normal. Okay. And then next is the PaCO2 level. Ano ang given na PaCO2? 50. Okay, so that's more than 45. So ibig sabihin mataas yung carbon dioxide level. Okay? So ano tawag diyan? Lagay natin siya ulit sa acid. Okay. So lagay niyo lang PaCO2. So lagyan you can write a note na respi siya. So determinant ng respiratory, like what we have mentioned do sa previous discussions natin, elevated yung PaCO2 or kahit decreased ang PaCO2, respi yan lahat. So ano nga hanapin natin? Vertical line. So the pH and the PaCO2. Okay? So yeah, dito pa lang meron na tayong sagot. Okay? So that's now, bakit siya uncompensated? Okay. Actually, dalawa lang yan dapat. Uncompensated, compensated. So, under compensated, may partial at saka may full compensation as like what you have seen in the video. So, susunod si bicarb. I-plot ninyo nasan si bicarb. Ano ang bicarb? 24. So, it's normal. Lagay nyo si bicarbonate, HCO3, metabolic. Nasa normal. Okay. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Bakit siya uncompensated? It means that hindi gumagalaw si bicarbonate. Hindi pa siya nagko-compensate. Hindi pa siya tumutulong in Tagalog. Okay? Hindi pa siya tumutulong do sa respiratory acidosis. So that is respiratory acidosis uncompensated. Okay? Kuha. Kuha pa tayo ng isa pang example. So that's respiratory acidosis uncompensated. O eto, yung diretso, horizontal. 'Di ba ang hahanapin natin vertical line. So kapag nito ang ay teka lang, nasaan yung values? Okay, wait lang. Okay. Ay, mali. Respiratory acidosis. Okay, so no vertical 3 in a row means full compensation as well as a normal pH. Asan yung values nito? Okay, wait lang, hanapin natin. Ay, wala. Nahanap ko lang, wait lang. Sa lahat, hanapin nyo yung pH. If the pH is within normal levels, so lagay nyo dun si pH. Normal. So, kunyari, ang binigay na value is 7.4. So, that's normal. Lagay nyo yung pH sa normal. Then, check the PaCO2 level. The PaCO2 is more than 45, then lagay kay acid. And then, HCO3, the base. Okay. So, kapag horizontal, nakita nyo na, ganyan na yung trend, naka-horizontal na. So, it means that there is already full compensation. Bakit natin sinabing full compensation? The pH went back to normal. Nag-normalize na yung pH. Successful. Okay? Yung successful yung ating compensation. Eh, hanapin na ha. So, wait lang.
So this column, it says a patient has the following ABGs: a pH of 7.26, PaCO2 of 31, and an HCO3 of 20. So very first thing what we want to do is we want to set up that tic-tac for that blood pH. Is it 2? It was 30. And when we interpret that, that is going to go under acid. So
okay. Given pH is 7.26. So that's below 7.35. Therefore, the pH is acidic. PaCO2, ano ang level? 31. Okay. Okay, 31. So that's less than 35. Pag mababa ang PaCO2, that's basic. So lagay nyo si PaCO2 under the base box. And then bicarb is 20. So less than 22. So that's acidic. Okay? So you have here a vertical line. So this is metabolic acidosis. Okay? So may vertical line tayo. Now, walang, okay, ito muna. Okay, so look at the base. Example natin yung respiratory acidosis, yung bicarb nandito sa normal. Now, since yung base natin, si PaCO2 natin, so you have metabolic acidosis. Ang pagtatalunan na lang natin kung compensated or uncompensated. So, kung compensated, is it fully compensated or partially compensated? So, since hindi horizontal line yan, scratch out na yung full compensation. Okay, balik tayo kay PaCO2. PaCO2 is, value is 31. Okay, so bababa, less than 35, which is the normal. Nandun siya under basic. So, ibig sabihin, gumalaw si PaCO2. So, there's already compensation. Kanina yung example nasa normal. Basta nawala sa normal na box. Okay? At gumalaw yan, whether napunta sa base, napunta sa acid, basta gumalaw siya, ibig sabihin may compensation. Okay? So, metabolic acidosis, so hindi siya full, partial compensation. Why? Kasi hindi niya pa naipabalik sa normal yung blood pH. Okay, palabasin ko lang yung ano. Oops, nawala. Ayan. So, partial compensation. Paano siya magiging fully compensated? pH, dapat normal na. Okay? Doon tayo sa full compensation. So, paano nyo malalaman? So, ayan, respiratory alkalosis, pH, PaCO2, one straight line, vertical line. So, that's respiratory alkalosis. Bicarbonate is still normal. So, that is uncompensated. So, hindi pa siya gumagalaw, hindi pa siya tumutulong. Okay? So, nahanap ko yung isa. Ayan, ito. Okay. The pH is 7.36. So, normal siya, di ba? 7.35 to 7.45. pH natin is 7.36. Normal. PaCO2 of 50. Above 45. Acidic. PaCO2. Bicarbonate is 31. Elevated. Okay, more than 26. Base. So, derecho. Okay, horizontal. Compensated, 'di ba? Fully compensated because the pH is normal. Pero hindi tayo pwedeng fully compensated. Ano yung primary acid-base imbalance na meron yung patient? O remember, yung dalawa, abnormal. So, paano ninyong malalaman kung is it respiratory acidosis or respiratory alkalosis or metabolic acidosis or metabolic alkalosis? Okay. Next thing to look. So pagka ganyan, na normal yung pH, fully compensated, tingnan nyo yung pH. The pH is 7.36. Normal siya, di ba? But yung pinaka-normal natin is you get the midline. So 7 point, ano yung midline ng 7.35 to 7.45? 7.4. So yun ang gagamitin nating parameter. So 7.4. Teka lang nandito yan sa taas, maglalagay siya. So, ayan full compensation. So, ano ba siya talaga? Ayan. Okay. Ay, mali. May isa pa slide dito. Ayan. So, kapag normal ang pH, may full compensation for us to identify what ABG imbalance meron, use 7.4 instead. So, ano yung pH natin? 7.36. So, that is before or less than 7.4. Meaning, mas gearing toward acidosis siya. Okay? So, asa na tayo? Ayan. So, the pH is actually yung 7.36 less than 7.4 is acidic. The next step, ano yung kapareho niyang acidic? Is it the PaCO2 or the bicarbonate? So it is the PaCO2. Alright? So the condition is respiratory acidosis fully compensated. Kuha? So respiratory acidosis full compensation. Why? Si pH at saka si PaCO2 ang parehong acidic. So, pwede niyo isulat yan. Okay? I don't mind. Kung pag nag-quiz tayo, nag-exam kayo, magsulat kayo ng tic-tac-toe dun sa gilid ng test paper, pwede. Para madalian kayo. Okay? So, malinaw ba tayo dito? So, ang gagamitin kapag normal ang pH, okay? Naintindihan ba? Malinaw naman. So, ito na yung pinaka madali. Yung mamaya, yung mababasa ninyo dun sa